It live? Are we live? Oh, brilliant. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Cyber Scotland Week, second day of the Cyber Scotland Week. We have Elaine McKechnie here and our awesome Ashley as well. So we'll be talking about women in cybersecurity today. Elaine, a really quick story for you. When I mention your name, you will be, we were thinking about you as a guest. Ashley confused you for Elaine McKechnie, head of IT at Baxter's Food Group.
Did you get the right one here today?
So what a coincidence, right? So that's another woman in IT. So on that note, why didn't you introduce us yourself? Just a minute or two.
Sure. Hi, everyone. So my name's Elaine McKechnie, as Jez pointed out already. So I am currently a senior manager at Virgin Money. I've been working there since about 2017 under what was the old Clydesdale Bank, and now we're sort of newly formed under Virgin Money. And my role there is I've just moved into the Chief Information Security and Resilience Office, which we like to call CSRO for short, because it's a bit of a mouthful. But delighted to be here.
Great.
Yeah, over to you, Ashley.
Great, thank you. And just a recap that these LinkedIn Lives are to coincide with Cyber Scotland 2021 that is taking place all this week. So feel free to join us for some more LinkedIn Lives this week. We've also got webinars, and we've also got a special quiz happening on Thursday night at 6 o'clock, just before the awards. So tune in. All the event details are on LinkedIn on our page, so tune in. So yeah, without any further ado, I've just got some questions here for Elaine, and feel free, if anyone wants to ask Elaine a question during this LinkedIn Live, to just send a note through the LinkedIn page and we'll be able to pick it up. So the first thing is, can you tell us a little bit about your career journey, Elaine, and how it's gotten to where you are now?
Sure. So a bit of an interesting career journey, and I know Skills Development Scotland spend a lot of time talking about that kind of no wrong path when it comes up to exams and things. And I often get wheeled out to tell my story to everyone because it's probably irregular. But then I'm yet to meet anybody who did have a regular path into cybersecurity. So if you find somebody, let me know. So where did this all start for me? Well, way back when I left university the first time round, I did a business studies degree. And when I came out of university, I was only 20 and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I decided to join the police. That seemed quite exciting at the age of 20 to go and do that. So I joined the police and I had a really great career in the police where working kind of just on, as a police constable in uniform. And then I went into community police, which really sparked off an interest in criminal intelligence. So a lot of information going into a huge, big intelligence database, and really the power of what you can do with that information is quite overwhelming, but also very inspiring. So I worked for a while doing the intelligence analysis and putting together lots of packs and things for the police. And then I guess I kind of got to a point in my career in the police where I thought, I want more, and where do I go from here? So I decided to look outside of the police for a new career, and realised that as I applied for some jobs, that nobody was really interested. Like, people don't understand why anybody would want to give up a secure job and move off to doing something else. So I felt I needed to demonstrate to future employers that I would have skin in the game and I was really committed to this change and it wasn't just on a whim. So I decided to go back to university and do a master's degree. So that was quite tough after nearly 10 years out of university, going back to do some study. But the degree was in business analysis and consulting. And there was a lot of practical elements to it where I got to work with industry and work with various partners doing quite interesting projects about business problems and how to solve them. Some were security related, but mostly just around like strategy and risk and quite big sort of statistical models and things as well. So that was an awesome jump start to my new career. And when I left there, I got into a job in IT architecture working in financial services. And it's just really snowballed from there. So that IT architecture job led into a job in big data. From big data, I got involved in cyber risk on big data. And then I got involved more in information security. And now here I am just in a new department in this CSRO area. So it's been quite a journey so far. And yeah, it's coming up on nearly 10 years since I left the police next year. And I can't believe how far I've come in that time.
Well, that's a really inspirational story, because I know in this current climate, a lot of us are thinking about career moves, thinking about going back to university and looking at, various subjects that we could possibly, do that we've always had a love for or a passion for. So you're really inspiring me, essentially, to maybe make the move or inspire others. And I don't think it should ever be too late. As a woman, we essentially have a lot of years ahead of us in the workplace. And it's really good that your story has sort of highlighted that you've been 10 years in the police, but then you made that move, which it's great, really.
Yeah, it's tough. And, if you're risk averse, a bit like me, it was really tough to think financially giving up that security was a difficult decision to make. And one thing, I have great support from friends and family who helped me understand what my skills were, who helped me translate that into something within the kind of the real jobs world outside of the police and the public sector. So I think without that help, that would have been quite a difficult journey for me.
Great. So this brings me into my next question. You came into the cybersecurity essentially. How do you feel about the female-male divide, and how is it sort of changing, perhaps?
So it's interesting. I think there's a lot of statistics that are published all the time, and I'm not sure that the statistics have really changed too much since I've been working in technology and cybersecurity. But really, what I think has changed is the conversation. So it's much more acceptable now to challenge thinking, to challenge behavior. It's much more acceptable to challenge what companies are doing about diversity and about inclusion. It's much more acceptable to turn up a job interview and talk about all of these things without, waiting for somebody to ask you a question about what is it you think about diversity. And now that it's okay to talk about it, I think that's a really important step on the journey to seeing the statistics change and to seeing a shift of more equal balance of gender representation in these technology and cyber roles. So
Oh,
there's
that's okay.
yeah, I was just going to say, I think there's a lot of companies also actively working with young people of school age, maybe even in early years, and they're demonstrating the variety of roles that are on offer. So that could give them future food for thought on their future careers and pathways. And it's such an important conversation to start really early in that pipeline, I think.
No, that's great. I mean, in my view, it can potentially be a daunting industry for a female, because, you go on LinkedIn, there's all these male sort of figureheads and voices, and very seldom do you see a female like yourself that is prepared to, lead the industry. And I think it's perhaps an edge where things are going to change, hopefully, and the balance will be there, which I suppose leads me into my next question is, if I was a graduate or if I was in my final year at university, what kind of advice would you give me as a female?
Okay, so I think the kind of the overall advice is never to sell yourself short, right? So I think there's been a number of instances or conversations that I've been part of over the year where there seems to be a sort of male-female divide in terms of how women approach applying for jobs and applying for jobs perhaps where they think that they have to I guess when you look at a job spec, they tick all the boxes all the way down. Whereas apparently, and there are apparently surveys that show this, that men look at job specs rather, and say that, well, I can maybe do about 30% of that, so I'll apply for the job. But women really look at that and see that as a strong list of criteria. And if you don't meet them all, then you can't apply for that job. So I think being a bit more open about how you approach things and knowing how to negotiate your salary is really important as well, and never being fearful to open up that conversation. Another piece of advice I would give, particularly in the cyber landscape and information security more generally, is just to explore the different roles that are actually on offer. So it's often seen as quite a technical role, and there are definitely roles for people who want to get into technical and engineering related um, pathways. But I think no matter what your major is, whether it's communication or marketing or, it's maths and statistics, there's something there for everybody, which I think is quite a nice arena to play in. So, for example, in the information security department that I've been part of, we had such a very wide variety of roles. So you have people who are consulting with other areas of the business versus people who are doing that hard security engineering and sort of everything in between. So my advice would be to reach out to security professionals to find out more about their day-to-day jobs. See if that sounds like a job that's going to give you satisfaction and whether it's going to make the most of your skill set, because there really is something on offer for everyone.
Oh, that's really good. And what is the Scottish job marketplace like at the minute, maybe compared to further south? I mean, is there the jobs out there potentially for graduates?
Definitely. So I think particularly in security, it's not something that's going away. We're not going to suddenly have to stop being secure. And one of the reasons that I love working in cybersecurity is because that's my niche. It's my thing, and I feel like I feel like I wouldn't struggle to go elsewhere and try and pick up a role. The nice thing, I guess, about just now is that the job marketplace is maybe slightly opened up more, so it's not so regional because people are seeing the opportunity to work remotely and have a bigger pool of people. So I think perhaps if anybody was feeling the Scottish job market was a bit flat, then you could look further afield and perhaps have an opportunity that wouldn't have existed a couple of years ago.
Great. No, that's good to hear. And obviously we're going to get a whole batch of new graduates coming out very soon, and they're going to be eager for work. So that's a really good light at the end of the tunnel, hopefully for them. So great. So tell us a little bit about, you're a member of Scotland Women in Technology for the last 5 years. Tell us a little bit about that, and how does it sort of inspire and help and support each other?
Sure. So Scotland Women Technology is a charity, and our sole purpose is really to celebrate, champion, and invest in women and young people in Scotland. And really with a focus on technology and inspiring more people to take up a career in technology who maybe have never considered one, and also to help those who are already working in the field of technology and support them in their career journeys and show them the exciting pathways that could be in front of them as well. So, how do we do that? Well, a few years ago, we set up the first Scotland Women in Technology Awards. So back in 2017, that was launched, and really exciting, vibrant event that we ran for a few years until the pandemic came and closed down all these great events where we get to be in the same room together. And what was lovely from that was that out of the awards, we celebrated everything from primary school teachers and secondary school teachers who were doing awesome things in education to inspire young people into technology, all the way through to sort of lifetime achievement awards for those who had really had a very long and successful career already. So what we were planning on doing was using those people to act as role models to the rest of industry and for people coming through, so that they can see how exciting the industry is and also relate to people rather than just relating to a job specification or description. Um, so I think the other thing that we sort of seek to do is to create a space outside of people's working environments where they can come together and do a bit of networking. They can hear some industry insights, perhaps through like panel events, and just really working towards having that sort of open conversation that you might not necessarily have with a group of women in your workplace because there's maybe not enough people to have that dialogue with.
Yeah.
And lastly, I guess on the networking side of things, there's a great network of people there who can help to shape and guide people's career paths and make sure that they've got options. So a really strong network is something I'm a massive advocate of, and I hope SWIP provides that to a lot of people.
Oh, great. Well, I'm sold. How can I or someone be a member if we choose to?
Sure. So at the moment, we've got a website. So it's just www.scotwomenintech.com. You can find us on Twitter, on Facebook, and LinkedIn. And yeah, we've got some events coming up soon. We've got some free training on offer as well through our Cisco Net Academy. So we launched that. So there's an introduction to cybersecurity training course on there for anybody who's not yet taken the leap to delve into the world of cybersecurity. It's a brilliant taster course and absolutely free. So I'd really encourage everybody to have a look at that.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. And then finally, I've got to ask you about the last 12 months and the 12 months ahead. I mean, what is your thoughts? What are we going to see more of? What are we going to see less of? Do you feel that we're now at a time where things are going to get better in general, not just essentially with industry?
Sure. So I guess the last 12 months have been really tough for everyone. I think emotionally and mentally, it's been draining. We've all been on this roller coaster together. One thing that's been quite lovely in my own team is that I feel like we're much closer together. So we've been very open, we've been very honest, we've shared tears, we've shared laughter, and it's been great to have that real human side of work. I think everybody is now a bit weary of it though, so we would probably all like to get back to an office one day, and I'm sure everybody watching this is feeling exactly the same. In terms of industry, I do think, although working from home has been a challenge, there was a lot of concern initially about whether, from a cybersecurity perspective, that this posed any greater threat or risk, as everybody moved to working from home. So I guess managing those sort of additional insider threats and looking at security still as a really key focus is something that I expect to see be a continued theme over the next 12 months. And I think from people's home and personal life perspective as well, we're all using a lot more devices. Children of younger age are using a lot more devices. So as much as we're more exposed to cyber threats, I also think it's done us a favor because we are more aware of cyber threats. So working in financial services, often part of our challenge is to educate our customers about what those threats could be. So there's so much out there in the open public space at the moment giving us that information. I think it's helping us in some way combat the scammers and hopefully teach more people about how to protect themselves online.
No, that's great. And we're very lucky to live in the age we do, where we've got such good tech and cybersecurity awareness. The only thing I think I do worry about is the older generation, where they aren't as savvy, as some of us, and they may be bought into various hacks and that type of thing. So yeah, that's the only problem I have with this current situation, because they have embraced technology, haven't they? They Zoom and they do as much as possible.
Definitely.
So, yeah, but no, that's about it from me. Do we have any questions?
We don't have any questions. Just Robbie Tyree saying, hi, boss. You may know him, Elaine.
I do know Robbie. Yes, Robbie worked 2 or 3 at Clydesdale Bank for a while. Hi, Robbie.
Brilliant. I have a question for you, Elaine. Just a really quick one. Over the last 10 years, in your career, have you been noticing more women getting into this cybersecurity or less? And what should we do, cybersecurity professionals, to improve the situation?
So I think I haven't noticed a huge problem, right, in getting a women in. But what I have noticed actually is, I think internally within our organization, often we look internally for hires into the security department because it's nice to have people with different business skills and from other areas of the business come into the department. I think there's a real barrier for people who are potentially have awesome skills that would easily translate into the security world when they're looking at an internal organization and thinking, I don't add any value there. So I'm not sure how we do this, but in some way, as security professionals, we need to be able to better relate in job descriptions to people as to how that could apply in a security setting. And I think that would make some of the security standards and policies that we expect people to adhere to a lot easier to roll out and a bit more business friendly in the long run.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Elaine.
No worries.
Ashley,
Great.
would you like to end the conversation?
Yeah, thank you so much. And I'm sure Elaine won't mind if I tell you guys, if you want to connect with her and ask her any questions offline, then please feel free. She's findable on LinkedIn. And also just a reminder that we've got some webinars and we've got some more LinkedIn Lives and also a quiz this week just to celebrate CyberScotland. And it's looking to be really popular actually this week, all the different activities and events taking place. So have a look on the CyberScotland website for anything that may interest you and join those events too. So yeah, thank you so much. It's been really great for me, especially because I'm sort of a little bit of an outsider to what's going on with women in this industry, and you've really educated and inspired me a little bit, so thank you.
Great, hooked you in. Thanks, Ashley.
No problem.
Right. Thanks, Elaine. Thanks, Ashley.
Bye.
Right.
Great, take care.